Years since Jacob Servin was booked into the San Joaquin County Jail, during which time he alleged he was beaten by correctional officers while in custody. Surveillance video shows he looked like this when he came in, a clean face and white pants, just before he's placed into a holding cell where there are no cameras.
You see him in the booking area, non-combative. He's fine.
About an hour and 20 minutes later, he looked like this, a bloodied and bruised face with eyes nearly swollen shut and blood-stained pants.
There's a lot of racial profiling and abuse of authority all over this country, and sadly enough, it happened to me. But, the good thing about it is I escaped from my life.
Now Servin has filed a federal lawsuit against the officers he says violated his civil rights.
He was beaten inside there, and it's pretty much undisputed that uses of force were employed against him while he was in that cell.
When it goes to beating a human being like that for nearly 10 minutes, that really just shows how much of pure hate it was, how much of a hate crime this was against me.
But Sheriff Patrick Withrow says dozens of witnesses that night, including inmates and nurses, say Servin was the aggressor, adding that Servin had 4 times the legal limit of alcohol in his system when he was arrested. The sheriff says when they took Servin to the holding cell to detox, he became combative as they tried to remove his cuffs, so they forced him to the ground.
While on the ground, they got one handcuff off, and then the fight was on. And he grabbed hold of a female officer, refused to let go of her. The fight with Mr. Servin went on for almost 7 minutes. If you've ever known fights, that's an extremely long time for a fight to go on.
Sheriff Withrow says Servin tried to bite one of the officers, then attempted to grab a knife from the waistband of another officer.
Yes, he was punched several times in the face, and he fought as much as it took to get him into custody.
The sheriff's department hasn't released the names of the officers involved in the incident, which is a demand in a separate lawsuit filed by Servin's attorney. If those officers face any action as a result of the investigations, the sheriff says he will. Schmidt is also demanding that surveillance cameras be placed in the holding cells.
We now have cameras in those cells to prove exactly what occurs in there and to prove that our officers do the right thing, or to show when our officers aren't doing the right thing.
In San Joaquin County, Rowena Shaddix, Fox 40.